Neil sort of came to the decision on his own and sort of came up with this thing of doing comedy. And have I told you this before? No. He never asked me about it. He just booked the night, and then a few months later I was saying to him, so who have you got for the show? Who have you got? What's going to be on the show? And eventually he said, well, there's going to be me, there's going to be you, and that's going to be it. And he had no comedians booked in. He didn't know how to contact anybody in the comedy industry other than top professionals, which we couldn't afford. Other than going to them, he had no idea how to get in touch with the sort of the semi-pro or the amateur stand-up market of comedians. So he just sort of sprung it on me about 3 weeks or a fortnight before the gig. He said, I'm going to be doing it and you're going to be doing it, and we've got to put on a show of at least an hour between us. And that was it. That's how it started. It was just when I say titting about, it sounds quite jovial and he's self-deprecating and deadpan. No, it was literally us fucking about for minutes after minutes of time. There was two of us and a small audience of people. Neil would get up, he'd do something funny, and he'd run out of things to say, and then he'd sort of go, Rob, and then hand the microphone over to me as he went to sit down, and I'd do the same for a bit, and then I'd run out of things to say, and then Neil would come back on, and we'd hand the microphone over again, and we just kept doing that. We then came up with this thing. We ripped off Frank Skinner and David Baddiel did something called Baddiel and Skinner Unplanned, where they had the audience yell out topics, and they'd improv, and just not improv, but they just talk bullshit and banter and chat and try and be funny, and we started doing that basically to fill the end of the show. We've managed to get a couple of comedians or people from the local Stafford area to come and do a little bit, and that with a couple of breaks would take up maybe 40 minutes, and then we get back on and do Halden and Reading Unplanned for another 40 minutes, getting progressively more drunk. It's back in the days when neither one of us had an important job or a wife at home. And then from there we just slowly started to figure out how to get in touch with people who wanted to be comedians or people who were comedians, and contact them on the internet and get some phone numbers. And we realised there were other venues like us knocking around, and we sort of built this network. But yeah, that was 8 years ago. And Neil says this every year to me. He says he's never been committed to anything else. There's not been a job, a girl. I mean, aside from his family, it's the longest sort of commitment he's had to anything, really. You're not in school. You're not in one school for 8 years. You're not in a job. It's very rare you're in a job, for 8 years, unless it's a career. So. And the JUICE-A-Nanny is a good laugh. The comedians hopefully seem to like it, and we hope we can give them a bit of a good time. And we hope they quite like that we invite them back, and that we like them. And the awards, they're not okay, they're not prestigious, but we give them an award out to Roger Swift, the prop comedian, who is like tireless with his gigging, up and down the country, puts in a huge amount of effort, and really deserves something like that. Paul Savage, who is really unrecognised in the West Midlands, and yet you go outside the West Midlands and he gets some really good bookings, some really good dates and stuff, and is a brilliant compere. And Darren Harriott, who again is really underappreciated and underused, and a top comic. And we also did a special award last year for Kiri Pritchard McLean, who came to us quite late, like in the year. We'd never seen her before. She came to one of the new material shows at JUICE-A's, blew us all away. We booked her for the Gatehouse Theatre. She stormed that gig, and then she came and did Cocktails and Comedy at number 15 Stafford as well. So she bashed out all three of our gigs in a short space of time, but we couldn't give her the Performer of the Year because we'd only just seen her like 3 months ago. So we kind of created a special award for that, and we've done something a bit similar this year. With Kiri, we called it the Breakout Act of the Year, but this is called something else. And well, you'll have to come to the show to find out, who it is and what it is. It's definitely someone that's performed quite a lot in Stafford. Loyal Juice fans will know who this person is, and see for yourself.